Hi, this is David with entry number 645, coming at you along this little stream thing here near my home. It's kind of like, I've talked about it before, but it's kind of like a little park that they made down here. If you hear some screaming, it's because there's a little group of toddlers with their teacher kind of playing with paper airplanes, which looks really fun. Usually, like in the summertime, this whole area is bombarded with people just chilling, putting their feet in the water and relaxing. But today, it's cold, and as a result, the water has now become, like people's mortal enemy, to stay away from the frigid temperatures of the water. Yeah, so today is Monday, I believe, and it's a typical Monday for me, and I just wanted to talk briefly again about kind of this concept of I don't know, maybe like a way of living. In Japanese, there's a word they use for like way of, and it's do, like D-O in English. And there's many different kinds of do, like cha-do, which means like way of the tea, and there's like a lot of these different formalities that people ascribe to, and one of like the more interesting things I think in life is kind of learning kind of like the way of living, and how like it can affect you and transform you and kind of build you into kind of an individual. And one thing that I've been doing the last 6 months, I guess, is this kind of concept of learning to live within my means. And for like the first 3 months or whatever, when I wasn't really working per se, but I still had a significant kind of nest egg saved up. I had no dough. It was just kind of point and shoot in terms of like, I see something, I want to eat something, I want to buy something. Granted, I did have certain limitations on myself, but I did things I wanted to do. And once I started to work again, whatever you call what I'm doing now, I started to clench down a little more and started to restrict more and more. And currently, like I mentioned last video, I'm living on like an extremely limited budget. I don't mean that lightly. I mean like literally, it's like nothing. So is it good? Is it bad? I don't. There's these questions I don't think are important. What I do think is important is that it's completely and utterly doable and manageable. Some people have no kind of grasp on limiting themselves, on kind of learning how to kind of modulate their life in order to fit kind of limitations, be it budgetary or locational, geographical, whatever. So people just always in a situation or in a mindset, more correctly said, in a mindset of like everything should be available to me, everything should be mine, everything should be I deserve everything. And no, that's stupid. And you know, for a long time, for a good part of my life actually, I've kind of like had to like temper, or I've decided for one reason or another to kind of like temper my life in, you know, in how I speak, or how I act. And what I've kind of noticed is that, you know, regardless of how much restriction or going the opposite way, not restriction, I don't know what the word is for that, I've done, you know, things have not exactly panned either way significantly, or have gone either way significantly. So, I guess what I'm trying to say is that I think in the future I'm going to stop, you know, censoring myself as much, and kind of just, I've decided that I'll just kind of do what I want to do, but of course within the parameters that I have set around me. And I guess when you say it that way, or when I say it that way, the real question is like, what are those parameters that I've set before me? You know, are they realistic? Are they unfair? Are they doable? And to a large extent, you know, for the last now 3 months, 4 months, I've lived on, like I said, about $1.50 to $1.25 a meal. So about $4 a day on food. I don't really buy anything that's like out of my means, but that isn't to say that, you know, it's not possible. It's definitely possible, but I choose not to, because I like this lifestyle that I'm living, and I want to, for the short term, continue doing it. So in order to do this, of course, I have restrictions on myself. And I think that there's a lot of people out there who I know personally that have no concept of kind of like restriction, have no concept of putting themselves in situations where they could live fine, they could live well, they could live like nicely, but they have no way, they have no inhibitor, they have no censoring of themselves. They just see whatever they want to do, and they're like little hedonistic monsters that seem to have no self-control. And it's a very irritating thing to see. And I know you shouldn't really like let other people's like actions or whatever affect you, but like when you see something else and you're like, oh, like this could be so much better if you just did like this, and this, you have to like shut yourself up. And because you're not doing something you want to do, you know, kind of like frustrates a little bit. But granted, now that I've said that out loud, kind of sounds silly considering what I just said before that. So, you know, there's a lot of things in life that are complicated. This, of course, being another one of them. Talked not too long, so I'll end it here. It's cold and nice though, good for walking, bad for hands. But anyway, thanks for watching, and I'll talk with you soon. Bye.